What is the funniest conspiracy theory? In another realm, JFK launches nuclear weapons at the USSR, thus plunging the world into a nuclear apocalypse. When time travel was finally developed, the CIA sent an agent back in time to kill JFK before he could launch the nukes. That's actually kind of a neat story. My chemistry teacher has this dinosaur theory. You'll see why I quote it, but it's pretty elaborate. I'm giving it my own creative spin as well as his original details. Humans have lived for only a fraction of a million years, and we've come very far. Sending a man on the moon, splitting atoms, television, in a pretty short time span. Dinosaurs, however, had millions of years to live on the Earth. Logic would dictate that they would get much farther than humans have. But why did they all die? They didn't die. The dinosaurs knew what was going to happen to the Earth, so they got in their spaceships and flew off to a different, undisclosed planet. Why didn't they come back? They did return. You've read mythology of medieval times, right? What about Chinese mythology? A lot of different civilizations all around the span of a few centuries had dragons in their myths. They are not made-up fantasy creatures. The dinosaurs returned to Earth, striking fear into the people who had not the weapons to kill it. But they left. Why? The dinosaurs left Earth again because it was too cold. As cold-blooded creatures, the dinosaurs could not live on Earth at the time. So the dinosaurs are done with Earth now, right? Wrong. They are preparing the planet for their return. After millions of years underground, we have found a fuel source from extinct plants that suit our needs in terms of technology. But what's the downside? It's causing global warming. That's right, the dinosaurs are literally tricking us into preparing a nice, toasty planet for them. We have other fuel sources though, one might say. Soon, solar, wind, and nuclear energy will make fossil fuels obsolete. It won't happen under their watch. But why, you might ask? The dinosaurs control the media. This is ridiculous, you're thinking. We'd know if dinosaurs were in the media. What you would be forgetting is that the dinosaurs are extremely advanced. They have disguising technology that makes them appear human. This is not only for the fossil fuel industry, however. The dinosaurs work in all sorts of media. Have you seen Jurassic Park 2? The one girl is nice to the dinosaur and feeds it. The dinosaur is friendly and means no harm. Later, that same dinosaur is attacked by a man and is killed by it. The dinosaurs want you to obey them. They don't want you to fear them either. Think about children's shows and movies with dinosaurs in them. Barney, The Land Before Time, Dinosaurs, Dinosaur. The list is endless. What about their new form, dragons? Dragon Tales. This brainwashing is not only in children's stuff. The Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim, is filled with them. There are friendly dragons like Parthunax. However, by nature they rule. You don't have shouts. You don't have magic. When the dinosaurs come back, you will submit to them. The best part about this theory is that you can warp it in any way to close in any possible holes in your story. They are technologically ahead of us by millions of years. They'll have something. That was awesome. Circuit City. It's less relevant since they are no longer in business, but perhaps this is due to concerns over a federal indictment. I am not convinced Circuit City was in business to make a profit. In fact, it seems likely that they were a front for a criminal organization to launder large sums of money. Most large box retailers follow the same strategies to maximize sales, all of which Circuit City seemed to flaunt. Locate your building in prime real estate. Circuit City was always located in a second-tier location. It was never on a main boulevard by a large shopping center, but tucked around a corner a few miles from everything else. Keep aisle width to a minimum. Circuit City, on the other hand, thought it wise to have aisles wide enough for an 18-wheeler to go through. CC's strategy here seems to be to minimize the amount of product they can keep in the store, despite big box stores making money off of the number of sales rather than purely on margins on products. Place either popular or impulse buys at the front. Contrary to this, Circuit City seemed to regularly place large household appliances, antiquated TVs or vacuum cleaners at the front because it's obvious that Joe Schmo who saunters into Circuit City may splurge and purchase a new washer. I forgot about this one. This should be at the top. I love this one. It's the perfect mix of bizarre and ominous yet kinda inconsequential to be just believable enough. I heard this one from a client after Hurricane Katrina. The US government created Hurricane Katrina with weather controlling technology purchased from the Soviets when the USSR collapsed. How else do you explain Hurricane Katrina traveling precisely over the International Hurricane Research Center in Florida, then taking a right turn and demolishing a good number of the oil rigs in the Gulf outside of NOLA, thus spiking oil prices and putting a lot of money in G.W. Bush and Cheney's pockets? I live in Boulder. I love the idea that the government can control the weather, but their most profitable use for it is destroying oil rigs. That the Village People were a covert operation by the US government to cheer everyone up during the recessions and oil crises of the 1970s. So what if you lost your job and have to stay at the YMCA? It's fun to stay at the YMCA. Or what about the Navy? You can sail the 7 seas. After that, it kind of got out of hand. They also prepared the world for a figure they could really rally behind in the 80s to improve morale. The Macho Man, Randy Savage. Well, there is this video on YouTube where they think the Illuminati secret society killed Eminem or Marshall Mathers and replaced him with a clone that was brainwashed into acting, speaking, and dressing like Eminem because Eminem knew too much and was revolting against the Illuminati. Lol. So we'll never know who the real Slim Shady is after all. Chinese government funds thousands of citizens a year to immigrate to Western countries in order to drive slowly and delay us from getting to work on time and thus slowing down our economy. That one is actually brilliant. Hitler never died and lives in a huge chunk of iceberg? I don't know. That's drifting around in Antarctica. Oh, he also caused the Titanic crash. Elvis is in fact not dead. Elvis faked his own death after he became tiresome of the fame and pill abuse. He entered rehab, got clean, and grew a beard. After some time, he began to long for fame and fortune and re-emerged into the spotlight under his new alias, Kenny Rogers. I thought he was in a retirement home with Black JFK fighting mummies. The fashion industry has been behind every major political assassination over the last 200 years, and behind every hit was a card-carrying male model. Christian Bale has a twin brother, an emaciated twin brother that he uses for roles that require him to be really skinny. That's how he's able to continually transform his body from skeleton to super buff. My dad thinks that China is slowly populating every country so that once war comes, the Chinese will already be inside their enemies. Nigerian spam emails are actually sent out by the US government to perpetuate negative stereotypes and distrust of African countries. As weird and funny as it is, that makes more sense than probably 90% of them. Maybe a little late, but the death of Princess Diana was all one elaborate heist orchestrated by florists. I mean, did you see the amount of flowers sold after her death? Millions! That would actually be pretty genius. Here is a supposed Freemason Illuminati disclosure letter from someone who claims he was cloned by them, and every time he falls asleep and hits REM stage, his consciousness awakens in his cloned body and he is tortured in extreme ways by people such as the Queen of England, Mila Kunis, and other famous elite members. The strange thing is that his story was confirmed by Tila Tequila, and they actually met each other in their cloned bodies. Anyone else remember Tila's crazy Illuminati tweets? So I just read all of that, hilarity mixed with regret mostly for not closing it sooner. Here's the one that everyone tells. My uncle built a carburetor in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s that got 100 mpg, and Ford, GM, etc. bought his patent and then hid it away so that the gas companies could make more money and share it with them. Either everyone likes to tell lies, or everyone has the same uncle and their family tree knocks branches together on a nightly basis. But then that is one I honestly wouldn't be surprised to learn was true, even though I agree it's probably BS. The car or gas companies didn't buy out streetcars in some cities to gut the public transportation system and increase their sales. Radio Shack was and still might be a front to launder money. For the life of me, I have no idea how to have so many locations with so little customers. I understand the cable they are selling me is at 1000% markup, but still. I think asking for your address when buying batteries has something to do with it. I know. Me and my friend think the same thing. How are they still in business when all of these bigger electronics stores are losing money? It makes no sense to me at all that Radio Shack still exists. JFK was assassinated by vampires who were working for the Air Force, who had cut a deal with the ancient Greek-Roman Kronos to exchange human blood for alien technology. JFK had apparently discovered their alien vampire polysthetic techno racket and was going to put a stop to it. He knew too much. This is nowhere near as good as some of these, but my mom truly believes that Stephen King killed John Lennon. He may not have pulled the trigger, but he orchestrated the whole event. Why Stephen King? I have no idea. I found this out when they assigned us Carrie to read in high school, and she threw a fit, saying she would not allow any of that vile man's words into her house. Then she turned on Imagine and cried. Stephen King looks kinda like John Hinckley. That's the only connection I've ever heard. Oxygen is poisoning humans, but it takes 80 years to kill you. But there are people who have a greater immunity to it. Actually, there may be some truth to this. See, the aging process happens when your cells are oxidized. Hence, we need oxygen to live, but it is the main reason why our body parts break down. My dad says that all of the windshield wiper companies could easily produce an affordable wiper with a lifetime guarantee, but are colluding to make wipers so you'll have to replace them every few years. This is an issue that affects every household in America, and the only reason that there hasn't been a public investigation into this conspiracy is that the feds are in on it too. I believe it. Why haven't the companies invented heated wipers yet? The one plane theory. Basically on 9/11 there was only one plane. The plane hit the tower and then, when nobody was looking, it turned around, looped all the way back around and hit the tower again. Here's the kicker. It got away when nobody was looking again and crashed on the way to the Pentagon. Best conspiracy ever.